very cold out here in this November 2016. In 2010, when memories began to resurface in me of meeting an extraterrestrial human hybrid being who identified herself to me as Beniko, I had just left my job with the Ipswich Town Football Club, where I'd worked for about 3 years, maintenance and cleaning. And I had worked very, very hard under stadium manager Trevor Curtin, who's now retired. And I was there during Roy Keane and Jim Magilton's years. And Brian Gant was my supervisor. I was initially hired in by Kevin Lamb from CLC Cleaning Contractors, Industrial Cleaners. And CLC lost the contract, and so they took us in as regular staff with Ipswich Town. And we had to sign non-disclosures about what we see and hear there. You know, it's football, FIFA, under FIFA, it was a big deal. It is still hush-hush, so I don't talk about, you know, players' lives or what happened. I was very stressed, going through a separation. I was going through a lot of stuff, and don't know where I'm going to live. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life at the time. And it was around August, September 2010. I was out of work, and I was writing my first children's story, because I intended to be only a children's author. Nothing more, nothing less. And I was never going to get involved in UFOs and aliens or anything. I had done that with a mutual UFO network in Texas. My trainer guy that trained me was Steve Hudgens Jr. out of Texas. He's now the MUFON state director. And in the 1990s, between 94 and 96, I was an official member with MUFON, card-carrying investigator, field guy, and I had something drawing me to the subject. Now, did I know I had had an experience with Beniko in 1992? No. If you'd met me in 1994, I would have said, "What the hell are you talking about?" And it would have scared me. Now, because there's a big, stupid, idiotic, spiritual, new age crap running around saying, you can't say the word "I'm afraid" or "I'm scared," then that means you're not connected, you're not resonating, you're not balanced, you're not... I have tried to abstain from and divorce myself from saying that I had any issues of anxiety or fear involving this. And that's come to my detriment. Much to my detriment. I have had tremendous amount of criticism and scorn. I've been called a disinformer, a liar, a lunatic, a crackpot, probably because I don't reveal the entire aspect of what this did to me in my life. Okay, so in 2010, memories began to resurface of meeting an extraterrestrial human hybrid being in 1992 in Texas, and the military intelligence had brought her to me. Now, when these memories begin to resurface at first, I was writing it down in my diary. I've got that diary here, in fact, somewhere sitting around here. Anyways, I've got that diary, and then in there I was, well, it won't make any difference if I show you anyways. You can say I wrote it anytime. My hand is shaky. Really, really shaky. It's, I think I've lost my goddamn mind, is what I think. I think I've lost my mind. I know I was under a lot of stress through my divorce, separation around those years. I know that I was very, very stressed in this football club. I worked myself to death. I mean, we were a 7-man team. And after a stadium of 20, 30,000 people after a football match, the government would send in these people to clean the entire stadium. About 50 people, a crew would show up. But I worked 5 days a week. I was staff. And we were in charge with everything else that went inside the stadium. So I cleaned 180 windows. I vacuumed 4,000 feet of carpet. I was in charge of cleaning 2 restaurants, 4 sets of bathrooms for men and women, and 32 executive boxes that faced the football pitch that had 8 chairs in them each. And my job was to go around and clean each and every one of these boxes after the game. Now the games weren't every day, so there was like a week or 2 weeks between each game. And to save money, I'm the only guy in that area. And the cobbled stand. I'm the cobbled stand guy. There's catering staff. Catering staff deal with kitchen issues. They do not clean. Catering people don't do any cleaning. They do only setting up dining stuff. They do birthday parties up there. People rent out that area for birthday parties, school functions, games, and the business executives rent out that part of the stadium. Even the executive boxes when there isn't a game on. And but they don't do any cleaning. I was the guy that cleaned. And then we had these 2 ladies, Carol and Pina, that went around, and they were in charge of all of the toilets in the stadium. 144 toilets between 2 women. And stress was like, your hand's shaking. At one point I was up there thinking I'm having a nervous breakdown. I mean, so I came out of the job because of cutbacks. Department 6 was cutting back. I'm probably not supposed to talk about that, but it was like it was cutting back, and we were coming out, me and another guy was coming out from the training ground down the road. I was on Portman Road here in Ipswich, and I had a staff pass, I had a season pass, I had 50% discount on all the stuff. I mean, a lot of times you see me wearing the blue scarves. This is their colors. It was blue. Right now I'm wearing some old trousers that have the logo on them, Ipswich Town. I still got a lot of that apparel, and I do have my one of my staff passes to prove I worked there. So I was, when these memories began to resurface, the first thing I'm thinking is, I've lost my mind. This is a breakdown. I'm going out of my mind. This is crazy. What the hell's going on? And why do I feel so much love coming from this memory? It's not just a memory, but there was something happening within me. It's like being outside of your head at the same time being in your head, and at the same time having a familiar. Something is so familiar about this, as if it's been there all along in my life. As if it's been there the whole time. When you get a memory come back to you from induced amnesia, because they gave me amnesia, so I wouldn't remember the experience. Probably never remember it, so I would never get it back. So for whatever reasons they brought her to me, I don't believe they intended me to talk about what I'm doing. And let's talk about my life in Texas, because I came from Texas and I moved to England. And as I said in one of my videos, I was a search and rescue officer. I was trained by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Well, I took training. I have 8 certificates with FEMA, covering Emergency Program Manager, Radiological Emergency Management, Earthquake, Disaster, you name it. I've got certificates in that area. I've got search and rescue training. I have an intermediate firefighter ground cover certification because I was a firefighter in Texas. So my Facebook page began in 2009. I had, until 2010, I had over 200 firefighters and police officers on my Facebook page who know me from Texas. And I'm a career rescuer. Even though I was out of it and living in England, I could have stepped back into it anytime. I got a briefcase full of certificates in education. And it meant a lot to me. The late, great Frank Clark, who started the search team I was in, North Central Texas Search and Rescue, Frank left us and died in 2012. And I was on the phone with him saying goodbye to him. His son, Cliff, was married to the sister I grew up with, Stella. He's now a police officer. He's an anti-terrorist law enforcement officer. He works with the FBI. He's a very high-ranking police officer today. Frank was a police officer out of Hurst, Texas for many years, and a paramedic and a firefighter. Frank was a second dad to me. I was Frank's running man in Texas. Every time there was a firefight call or search and rescue, if we were in the fire department or doing search and rescue, Frank would come pick me up. I was his secretary. I was in my 20s, and he was in his 40s, and we just go running around. He was a legendary firefighter, and I loved the guy dearly. Cliff was a brother to me. You know, I came from a big family of firemen and police people, and so you have to have a very important credibility. And also at 18, I can prove this. I was a fire dispatcher for Briar Fire Department under Ron Frierson. Good man. Very decent man. Ron was a very decent man. A caring and kind man. And I liked Ron. And I left that job to go become a soldier in the United States Army, where I was in the Army National Guard. And all I got out of that was a National Defense Ribbon for serving during the Gulf War in 1991. I did not go out of the country. So I've got a 201 file. I've got a DD Form 214 military file in my briefcase. You know, I have not an impressive service record. I was a National Guardsman. And it's kind of like a stone skipping on water. I went in the Guard, came out of the Guard. There was cutbacks in that time. So they put me into inactive ready reserves for 8 years, so I can meet my contract as an inactive reservist, and I still have that reservist ID card, which I do not use. I do not bring to bases. I do not ever use that. It's expired, and I would never, ever use that. But I use it for identification and to prove I was even there. So we go back to these memories coming back to me in 2010, and I am like, you know, I'm in my mind saying, oh, okay, this is, I've lost it, and what is this love I'm feeling? Really, what in the hell? This is a familiar feeling. So it became very disorienting for me, very, very disorienting for me. A man that likes to have answers. I did Skywarn with Frank, my chief in that search and rescue team. He did meteorological skywarns where he chased tornadoes. I went running with him and Russell Harold, who's a co-founder. Good man. He's retired in New York. He's in his 60s. A decent, kind man. He was my assistant fire chief in the Pelican Bay Fire Department. He's on my Facebook page now. Him and his wife Janice. Very decent, good people. You know, you just love these people. They're family. You grow up with them. And you go through hard times with them. Firefighting was hard. We lost firemen. They died. You know, we got close. You could trust them with your life. I would never lie to these people. And what I've brought to the public, they're seeing too. And I love these people. There is a lot of ridiculous stuff out there, and disinformation in the UFO subject and alien contact and abduction subject. There's a lot of tremendous, ridiculous stuff running around. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what they're talking about. You know, again, hybrids, aliens, or extraterrestrial hybrids are here to help ascend humanity to a higher consciousness. Absolute nonsense. I don't know where they're getting that from. I have no idea what that's about. It's a part of a spiritual New Age crap that I find absolute ridiculous. Benico did say such things would be running around in this time period. But there's a lot of people who are just putting their own ideas on this and interpretation and running around with it. And you got to be very spiritually balanced. And why would she contact me? You know, I've heard people say that to me. Well, why wouldn't she come to me, or me, or I'm more balanced. I'm a Reiki master. Well, Reiki's got nothing to goddamn do with any of this. I don't know what they're going on about. What? First of all, she was in the custody of the military intelligence. I believe these people were Air Force intelligence. I don't know. I didn't see their ID cards. They didn't go, well, here's our, they were in uniforms. I believe the uniforms said Air Force on them. Um, it could have been naval intelligence. I don't know. There's been lots of speculation about what division or unit that could have been. And that Benico had said that she'd been coming to me over my whole life, and I had no memory of this. And they somehow were able to get her out of a vehicle, and that was due to the fact they brought the vehicle down. There's been suggestion from some people who I think are disinformers who've said that perhaps Benico and them are working with the government. And I said, no. And I seem to find a lot of resistance when I go to say that Benico was being hurt by these military people, as I witnessed an assault. They hit her. They hit this girl in front of me. And they were evil about it, and they said, look, we can pull the plug on this anytime. They told me, we can control this. We can stop you having any contact with her. And they zapped her with some kind of a stun gun in the back of her skull. And all of a sudden, I don't feel her anymore. She's unconscious. She's out. And I know that sounds extraordinary, and it was hard for me to get this back. It was really difficult to remember something like that. It wasn't hard to accept her. It was. I have to admit, the memories of her with those eyes being slightly larger than our eyes and a larger head, and she was short with 4 fingers, not 5, but 4. Wearing some little uniform, and the moment she stepped out of that vehicle and they got me up to meet her, they were watching my reaction. It was like some kind of a test to see how I would react to this. And I mean, immediately my legs felt like they were going to collapse. It's the same story I've given for 6 years, over and over again. I at first glance, I wasn't like a new age idiot. I'm going to go out and hug her and, baby, come on. At first I was like, God damn, this is real. You know, I had seen some Oprah Winfrey TV shows in the 80s where they talked about some abductions and aliens and hybrid. Some of that stuff was running around at the time. And I thought at age 20, it's probably, maybe it's a lot of nonsense, to be honest. You know, it's probably just a bunch of people who, for whatever reason, are making these kinds of things up because they're crazy or they just want some attention. And I was really annoyed with some of these people. I thought, some of these, I was watching, there were some documentaries out before this encounter where there were people talking about their experiences, and I really didn't put a lot of credence to that. I really thought it was some kind, maybe it's something else going on, and they're being put up to say this. So I got really irritated with these people. There was something that drew me to the stories. I felt a connection. There was something going on there. But all in all, I think they're just crazy, is what I thought. I thought these people are just crazy. These women saying that aliens took their eggs. I thought, you're out of your mind. But when she stepped out of that RV, that blacked out window Range Rover, my first thought was, this is a Muppet. Somehow well, at first I thought this is a little girl. And I laughed nervously, and I looked back at that blonde soldier that was standing next to me, and she was a sergeant, and I dressed her as staff sergeant because I saw the rank, and they don't know how I know ranks. It's like they don't know I was in the military, which was weird. I'm like, well, if you guys are military, how come you don't know I was in the military? You know, you're coming to my house and picking me up. Why do you know that I was a soldier at one time, you know? And they were like, I remember some of the reactions like, how do you know our rank? And I'm like, what's wrong? I was one of you. Are you stupid or something? You knuckleheads? What, you all got a case of serious dumbass? This is American intelligence? Really? You don't even know that I was one of you? Really? Well, boy, that's Army intelligence. It's like Robin Williams' movie. What was that? Good Morning Vietnam. The true story of that Colonel guy. He does that comedy about Army intelligence, and he says, "We're here today with Sergeant so-and-so of U.S. Army Intelligence, and how do you find the enemy, Sergeant so-and-so?" And he says, "Well, we go out to the woods, and we ask them, 'Are you the enemy?' And if they say yes, we shoot them." And you start thinking, not that I was thinking about that particular movie. Well, I don't think it wasn't even out then at the time. But I mean, I draw upon that for just a minute because I'm thinking even now how ridiculous that is. That they don't even know that I was even in the military. You know, I wasn't in long, but here I am an inactive reservist till 1999, February '99, and they don't even know that. You know, they don't seem to understand how I know about their rank. So I looked at that staff sergeant and I was like, you need all this firepower and 30 or 40 people in my courtyard to guard a girl, a child? This is all for some child? And I looked at her again and she was looking at me, and I realized this is the one that was on the phone with me. If you were following my videos, that's the one that was on the phone with me. None of these videos can make sense to you if you just subscribe. And what's he on about? I'm going to put it all under the playlist of Benico, and it's just, there it is. It's all there. And I can't say it enough. I can't talk about it enough. I was like, then I see the size of her eyes. At a cursory glance, she's just a girl. You know, just a person. You don't think she doesn't look unusual, but then the eyes were quite large. And that hair, that long hair, and then I noticed her arms and her 4 fingers, and I began to realize, God damn! I thought, my God, everything I saw on Oprah Winfrey about this is true. It's all true. All of this is true. Hybrids, these beings, these extraterrestrials, everything about this shit is true. And my heart was racing, and my knees felt weak, and I wanted to go right down on my face, dead into a faint, right there. I thought, Jesus Christ. But then I immediately, as I was looking at her, she was staring at me for a minute while this was running through my mind. It's like she knows what's going through my mind, and she knows what I'm thinking about her, you know? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I love her. This is the one I was on the phone with, and I declared my love. There was this loving connection we developed over this phone call. Somewhat why? I don't know what. Why? I don't know. We just did. We found love for each other. And I see her for who she is. There's no screening. I've heard of screening, telepathic screening, where they make you see something else. I saw her as she was. And I don't see any human girl standing there. I see a small, diminutive female that looks partly human. And I love her. It's hard to talk about this. Let me slow down a minute. I don't want to pause this. I need to slow down. She's cute. She's adorable. She is so cute. And I think this is the thing about life. In 1,000,000 years in a world so full of all kinds of people, I will never meet anyone like you again. In my entire life, if I live to be an old man, I will never meet anyone like you again. There is something, I don't know what it is. I feel this. There was a moment of, yeah, absolute, you know, and then I felt, she is connecting to me in my mind. And I get in arguments about that. People say, well, she's screening your brain, she's taking control of your thoughts, she's trying to make you feel things. And I'm like, no. She is there in me, yes. And as I said, we spoke on the phone before the encounter, and I don't know how she contacted me. I don't know. I mean, I'm on the phone, she's telling me, how do you think I got your number? I've said that 1,000 times in 1,000 videos. And I said, well, how did you get my number? And she said, I read your thoughts. And she goes on to describe the interior of my bedroom with great detail. And then my life, secrets about my life, and things I never told anybody. I'm like, huh? And I agreed to bond with her, as she put it. Here's where it leaps off the page and sounds New Age-ish. Okay, well, here it is. But she said, I'm going to bond with your soul, quantumly bond with you. Now, I don't know what that means, but I know that through our several hours on the phone, we shared so much, and she opened my mind up to so many things. Through all that, I loved her. I fell in love with her. I loved her. And I don't care what she looks like. I don't care where she's from. I love this girl. Am I in love with her? I don't. Well, these distinctions and definitions of love are, if you have to sit down and define it and put it in words, then you're wasting time in left field. Get back in the right field and don't care about that. Just love. I loved her. And I wanted to be with her. I wanted to hold her. I know what that sounds like, and I don't really care. You know, the thing is, when you love someone, you love them. God damn the rest of the world. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what my ex-wife thinks about me and her boyfriend. I don't care what the courts might think. Is he a fit father? Is he fit to raise those kids? You don't know what I've sacrificed. I can never go back to being a rescuer again. I've lost so many people in Texas who respected me as a lifesaver. Listen to me. I saved lives in Texas. I'm a lifesaver. I'm a goddamn lifesaver, okay? There are people alive today because of my actions of being there and saving them from death. That's who I am. And when you love someone, you love someone, okay? And you don't care what people think about you. And I've got into that New Age crowd. I agree with that love and spiritual stuff. Sure, let's all get spiritual. But it's a lot of politics. It's a lot of dogma. A lot of people are arguing psychological crap about connections and not being connected. And then that word resonating, if you say resonating to me, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. If someone says, I don't resonate with that, resonate, I'm going to bust you in the head. Resonate with this. Get your resonating ass, your resonating shit off my page. Don't subscribe to me. If you've got this thing about resonating, resonate. Ridiculous. Come on. I admit on this video I was a little scared. But she held my hand all the way through. And we went through that experience together, and as part of the finishing process of bonding our energy into one soul, she had to hold me. Now, she doesn't tell them what we've done on the phone. They don't even know that we've spoke on the phone. She got away with that one. Very clever girl. So she comes up to me, and I am accepting and loving her as she is. And she walks up to me, and I hold her, and she holds me. And this goes on for about 4 or 5 minutes. At first, there was resistance to that holding. This sergeant lady was like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? She's like, and watched me, and then the sergeant lady's like, step back a minute. She says, what do you see? What do you see? And Benica went to say something to her, because they can use verbal language. And she said, I'm asking Jason. She was very, 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 very abrupt with her. But not mean to her. No. She wasn't being mean. This sergeant lady, this staff sergeant, this blonde staff sergeant, was a good person. And somehow Benico opened my mind up to see that about her. So not everybody that was in uniform that night was a monster. It was this one lady that stands out as being, I think she cared about Benico. And I wish that she would come forward and speak up. You know who you are. And I told her the truth. I said, well, Staff Sergeant, there's this girl standing in front of me, larger eyes, irises, hair, 4-finger digits, and a little uniform with a triangle on the uniform. She looks like a small nose and a small chin, and she's like something out of a Jim Henson Creature shop. I almost said her name because I know this lady's name. The staff sergeant was like, "That's not funny." She's like, "That's not funny." No, That's not funny, and I'm not being rude. Jim Henson Creature Show. Actually, it's a compliment. I like Jim Henson. I like the Muppets. And she's very pretty and a very cute, adorable girl. And like I said, I held her. She held me. A very special, special, special moment. You ever felt special? You ever really felt special? Imagine the most special moment of your life and times it by 5 or 10. And it was beautifully special. You felt very interior, very intrinsically inclusive and inside. And I can't even describe this. She is the most amazing person I've ever known. And I'm holding her. And she's loving me. Oh, that's even better. This incredible girl is loving me. And I love her back. And I want her to stay with me. Stay with me. I won't be a knucklehead. I won't show you off. I thought, well, I'll take you with me. You know? How would I save you? I couldn't protect you. I couldn't help you. I don't have walk around with a gun all day long, making sure no one steals you from me. And she had adorable little hands, and personality, and charm, and wit. And this is frustrating because for all of you, she's not real. She can't possibly be real. I've given up everything. I have sacrificed everything talking about this. I've said all I can say about my real mother, Annette, from California, and those videos have stopped. Family can't talk to me. I'm a rendered kid, taken from a family. Maybe one of the reasons I was meeting Benico was because of the fact of the extraordinary nature of my origins and background, which is because I was Annette's lost son, and the CIA was keeping that secret. And maybe they were trying to put her in front of me so that it would ruin my credibility. So I'd have that experience to tell you about, and then say this actress from Hollywood is my mom, and you're going to say this guy's cuckoo, he's out of his mind. But there's no more to say about Annette. Let her rest in peace. I know that she's my real mom. As I said, I've wrote the CIA through the Freedom of Information Act, and it's probably going to go nowhere. And I've requested, it's an appeal against their decision. I've uploaded the copies of those letters to my Facebook page. Incredibly, I've even had people say, how do we know these are real? I'm like, well, it's got reference numbers and everything. Experts who know have already said those are real papers he got back from them. And it does look like they're hiding something about actress Annette Funicello. It does look like that, and that's shocked a lot of people. And those who even believed me were going, oh my fucking God, there is something to this. She was CIA. Oh my God. I love you, Mom, but you're with us. You're resting in peace. I got to get back to this, Mother, because I feel your love, but she is with me, and I've told your story, and I don't expect to get married to Benico or walk down the road with her. I do get messages by various means, and here it comes. Yep, you know it. Thought projections, and yeah, I know how that sounds. And I do hear her telling me things like, "You're going to come with me." Now that echoes back to the early '90s when she said that then. In the end, I go with her. So in a sense, I go with her physically and become a missing persons person. I'm not here anymore. The sense in that, it just makes perfect sense. You know, from a soul energy issue, we are the same person. We are not sharing the same soul. I mean, we are the same soul. Not like sharing something. We are the same person. Not two. We're this, but in two different, as she put it, containers. was a very special experience. I wouldn't have minded if those people in those combat outfits would have just thrown me in the back of a vehicle with her and drove me off to some base somewhere, Four Corners, underground base, Mexico, or S4 or some damn shit, I don't know, Area 51, and said, you're going to have to live out the rest of your life with her here. Okay, alright, I'm happy with that, that's fine. I'd have been fine. Okay, sure, okay. That's fine. We'll be happy. I'm happy, she's happy. And you're all like, well, I think this video I was trying to say to you that this video is about sacrifices, okay, and I can't go back to being a rescuer. I've got that enormous education in rescue work and experience and credentials and lives I've saved, and these people today I have saved still know me. Those who hate me, write that down, and we're going to find him and run him off his Facebook page if they, well, I'm not going to say they're there or not. In any case, I can't talk about that because that exposes the victim. These are people who were victims of fire that broke out in their homes, and I was a fireman that went to save them. And under the law, you can't reveal, like an ambulance driver can't reveal and talk about people. They can't drop the names. I can't drop the names of the people I've saved. Okay, and I can't even say if I've got them on my wall. And she does tell me, you're coming with me. She tells me, oh, I hear it lately more than ever. Lately, I don't know, I'm not always given every piece of information, because information's a dangerous thing if you know too much about something. You could talk about it, or someone could get it out of me. But she is telling me, yeah, you're going with me. She says, you're going with me. And in all the years I've made these videos, I've never said anything like that. I don't know what that means yet. I have no fear. This is my life. This is how it turned out for the orphan kid. To you, the family I didn't grow up with, I love you. I do. I really do. Y'all look wonderful. I don't ever judge you guys. I love you. You're not bad people. You're good people. And I absolutely love you. I do. And if we never get to meet in life in person again, and I become a missing persons, and I go off with her, I'm your brother and I love you. I know this is an extremely crazy, mixed up, upside down world we live in. And no, it doesn't always make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't go with what you were taught in Catholic schools growing up. It doesn't make sense to Baptist school. It doesn't make sense to anything you were taught. The galaxy is most indifferent to your belief systems, believe me. Very, very indifferent to what you hold to be your belief systems. And what I'm bringing you is not a belief system, but a fact of life. It is an experience I've experienced and things that have happened to me in my life. And I know these are ongoing experiences, and I know that she's out there, she's around, and I know that this is not a belief system, it is a fact. It's a love that made me non-human, that pulled me out of the human race. And I have no issue with that. And I'm not ashamed. And everyone in the world can call me absolutely crazy all they want. And I mean, call me the most absolute whacked out idiot you ever met. but I really can't put into words what I feel. I can't tell you how special this feels. Yeah, you have no idea. You have no idea. Oh man. Oh boy. Oh God. All of you, you don't know. You have no idea. There's nothing that I can say that can ever bring you into what this feels like. And I could be living on the streets, eating out of garbage cans, and she's there. I feel her. She's in me. And even in the coldest rain, the worst of conditions, I also know that death out of this body only takes me from here, and I'm there with her. It's hard to explain. They do live and exist in a dimension where you would say your loved ones go to when they die, but they're not dead. We're talking about a very, very extreme advanced technologies that go into other dimensions. And so UFOs are often seen appearing and disappearing out of space and off on radar like that. I don't feel like I've lost something or like there's some kind of a longing sensation, as if I'm missing something, because she's in me. Let's clarify that point before the video runs out. And so thank you for watching this video.